day can be challenging, with decisions to make and risks to take. Some days are more difficult than others because we may not know how to navigate certain situations. The stress about not knowing what's going to happen and having to make decisions on the spot can be overwhelming. Naturally, nobody wants to make the wrong choice or poor decision. According to John Lee Anderson in the article, "Are You a Perfectionist?" published in the New York Times, quote, "The fear of failure, not being perfect, and the constant need of personal validation affects 25 to 30% of children and teenagers." Nobody wakes up and says, "I want to be average," or "I want to have an okay day today." You wake up thinking, "I want today to be great. I want to ace that test," or "I want to have an awesome day." But that isn't how life works. You're going to have rough days every now and then, and you will make mistakes. However, as a perfectionist, like myself, I constantly struggle with the messiness of life, the idea of being okay if a mistake is made, and stepping out of my comfort zone and taking risks. However, I have found that letting go of the idea of having to be perfect, which does not come naturally to some, can actually allow you to become the best version of yourself. I was first shown this picture during a lesson in school. What do you see here? Some may say, "It's a red dot," or "That's a red circle in the center of the screen." All those observations are correct. However, there's more to it than that. For me and many other perfectionists, that small dot becomes my sole focus. It represents the one thing, the one moment that went wrong in a situation, while the rest of the white space is everything that went right or the way it was supposed to, which in my mind just becomes irrelevant. This impacts me in all the areas of my life. I play competitive soccer on a highly ranked travel team. While we win most games we play in, most of the time I walk off the field upset or disappointed, no matter what the score of the game was. There was one game where we were explosive and dominated as a team, winning 10-1. 10 goals in one game. Amazing, right? My whole team was excited, but I wasn't. See, I played defense, so my fixation was on the one goal that was scored against my team, the red dot. Instead of celebrating the 10 goals that we scored, my focus was that one goal, the red dot, the one blemish that was scored against us. I blamed myself. That goal was my fault. As a perfectionist, I didn't allow myself to look at the bigger picture, to celebrate the win, the great plays, and all the happiness of the white space. It's also really difficult to be a perfectionist and student. As a perfectionist, I always feel the need to get a perfect score, so tests are always extremely stressful. 3rd grade was the age that tests started to freak me out. Once that year, I received an assessment back from my teacher that showed I got an 11.5 out of 12 correct. Ever since the moment I received that grade, I've been terrified of taking tests or quizzes. I was so upset that I cried for an hour after school. Again, my focus became that half point I got taken off, the red dot. Instead of celebrating that test as one score of many assignments over a period of time that would actually indicate my progress and growth as a student, the white space. It was in 3rd grade that I also participated in the spelling bee. When I realized I had been selected to participate, I was thrilled. I'd worked so hard and studied and studied. When the day came and I was eliminated, I lost it. I had made it to the 4th round, but all I cared about was that last word I spelled wrong. In this case, the word shriek was the red dot, and the rest of the words I spelled right were lost in the white space. I was still fixated on the need to be perfect that I missed out on celebrating how far I had actually gone in the bee and the words I learned to spell in preparation for the event. When I developed the stutter, it became difficult not to let my perfectionism impact my everyday life. In fact, most people didn't even notice that I had a stutter, but the problem was, I did. I reached a point where I tried to avoid reading out loud, and I became very self-conscious. At that moment, my stutter was the red dot. But coming back to school after the summer of 2022, I was sick of trying to hide it, so I took control and started seeing a speech therapist. Most people that knew about my speech therapy told me that the way I talked was fine, but even if it wasn't fine enough for me. My speech therapist helped me learn strategies to avoid stuttering, but she also explained that I was setting my standards way too high and called me out on my need to be perfect all the time. I knew this but I just couldn't control the want or desire to be perfect. As I was able to implement strategies to avoid stuttering, I started to have more confidence and began to speak in front of people like I'm doing right now. So let's bring that back to the red dot. For the first time, my perspective changed. In this case, my speech therapist helped me focus on the white space, which was the rest of my fluency, not on the red dot that was the one occasional stutter or slip-up. She helped me realize that it's okay if I stutter every now and then, because I have great fluency outside of that one imperfection. Upon reflection, I realized that shifting that perspective, allowing myself some leeway not to be perfect, has allowed me to be the best version of myself. As much as I am a perfectionist, I learned that not everything is going to go the way we want. I want you to know to not only accept that, but take ownership of the things you can control. Think about how much more fulfilling life could be if you allow yourself the freedom to make mistakes. Live a messy life, make mistakes, challenge yourself, and take risks. Let go of your red dots and celebrate all the goods and positives in the white space around you. This will allow you to be the best version of yourself. Thank you.